Welcome to this week's edition of the OHSAA Tournament Tip-Off. Now from Columbus, here is the OHSAA Radio Network's Marty Bannister.
800 schools in Ohio started the boys basketball season back in November with the goal of playing in March for a state championship. And now 16 of those schools have advanced to this week's Ohio High School Athletic Association State Tournament. Welcome to this week's edition of the Ohio High School Athletic Association Tournament Tip-Off Show. I'm your host, Marty Bannister. And together with our guest, we'll spend the next 30 minutes setting the scene for the 102nd Annual OHSAA Boys Basketball State Tournament, and we'll recap last week's games at the Girls State Tournament. For the fourth consecutive year, the state tournament will be played at the University of Dayton Arena, and we'll hear from the broadcasters who will call the games for Spectrum or the OHSAA Radio Network. And we'll also get a look at last Saturday's 49th Annual Girls Basketball State Championships that were also broadcast on Spectrum and see how those four title games were decided. But first, we'll step aside for a break for these messages from the Ohio High School Athletic Association. This is the OHSAA Tournament Tip-Off Show.
Ready?
It doesn't matter if you're playing hard or working hard. Your workout only works out if you recover right.
Recover.
Chocolate milk helps you recover for what comes next. It's delicious and contains the right mix of protein and carbs to help refuel exhausted muscles.
Ready? Recover. Repeat. Chocolate milk, the official beverage of high school sports, is brought to you by the American Dairy Association Mideast.
The OHSAA Tournament Tip-Off Show is brought to you by the OHSAA Radio Network, which will broadcast every game from this week's Boys Basketball State Tournament at the University of Dayton Arena. In addition to the radio network coverage, every game from the Boys State Tournament will be covered by Spectrum. The Division 4 and 3 semifinals will be on Spectrum Channel 314, followed by the Division 2 and 1 state semifinals on Spectrum News Channel 1. The state championship games on Sunday will also be on Channel 1, and all 12 games will be streamed live at OHSAA.tv. This week marks the 102nd Annual OHSAA Boys Basketball State Tournament. Let's get a preview of each division from the Spectrum and OHSAA Radio Network broadcasters who will call the games. We'll start in Division 4. Here's Dwight Burgess.
The OHSAA Boys State Tournament tips off this Friday with Division 4 up first, beginning at 10:45 a.m. The Berlin Highland Hawks have reached the Final Four in 5 of the last 6 tournaments and seek the school's 4th state championship. Injuries could have derailed the current campaign, but the Hawks reimagined themselves without missing a beat. Sam Detweiler has emerged as a scorer and a leader, most recently knocking down 16 points in the regional final win against South Webster. In that game, Highland trailed by 16 before coming back to claim victory in overtime. Highland is battle-tested and legitimate title contender. Lima Central Catholic is also searching for a 4-state title, in this the T-Birds' 10th Final Four appearance. If successful, head coach Sean Powell would be the 3rd different program leader to raise the trophy. LCC arrives in the Gem City fresh off a region final win over a Toledo Christian team riding a 22-game unbeaten streak. Carson Parker led the way with 19 points, while 4 of his teammates also tallied double digits. Defensively, the T-Birds limited their opponents to shooting less than 40% from the field, and with 26 wins and 15 consecutive, LCC is firing on all cylinders and riding a wave of confidence. Then there's Richmond Heights. They're on the verge of entering rarefied air as they look to become just the 5th school in Ohio history to win 3 consecutive titles. The 2024 Final Four is also the Spartans' 5th such appearance in a row. Richmond Heights has bulldozed their way through the tournament to date, winning by an average of 44 points per game. The roster is replete with top-shelf college talent, and Coach Quentin Rogers' team features the same starting 5 that won the championship last year. A brutal schedule has further prepared the Spartans for this title run. They're the clear favorite heading into the weekend. Finally, in their 28 games played to date, only 6 times has Russia won by fewer than 20 points. Winners of 11 in a row, the Raiders are beating teams in the tournament by an average of 40 points. Defensively, the Raiders' opposition has been held to fewer than 30 points per game on average throughout the tournament to date. Looking to claim the school's first state championship in 3 attempts, Russia features a veteran and balanced lineup as demonstrated in their 21-point triumph over Troy Christian in the regional final. The Raiders aren't to be taken lightly. The round of 4 tips off at 10:45 on Friday inside the University of Dayton Arena.
Now we move to Division III. Here's Tim Bray.
If Division III looks familiar, it is. 3 of the 4 teams are back from a year ago, led by Lutheran East, the defending state champions. Ottawa Glandorf and Preble Shawnee will play in the opener. The Titans were state runner-up a year ago, and the Warriors were a state semifinalist. Now, the newcomer on the block is Preble Shawnee. Tough draw out of southwestern Ohio. They survived, beat Versailles in the regionals. A lot of elite talent in this division as well. 6'10 senior Jess McCullough from Lutheran East is headed to Michigan State to play for Tom Izzo. He's averaging 24 points and 14 rebounds a game. And then there's the pride, the heart and soul of Putnam County, and that is Colin White. He's going to go play for Jake Diebler at Ohio State. All he has done is lead this team for 4 consecutive years. They've got over 100 wins in him in the starting lineup, and he's the all-time leading scorer in Putnam County. Now, the newcomer is Preble Shawnee's Mason Shrout. He's 6'5", a senior, headed to Purdue Fort Wayne, averages 24 points a game, and he shoots it at over 50% from the field. Harvest Prep, all they wanted to do was get back to the state, and they needed a layup in the last seconds to win the districts, and then they had a regional to remember, and this team is for real. Great defense for the Warriors, and they have been back 3 of the last 5 years. So it's going to be a very competitive Division III with lots of experience at state.
I'll have the call of the Division II state semifinals and title game. Division II will have a new champion this year. Defending title holder Akron Buchtel was eliminated in the district semifinals, so a wide-open field makes its way to Dayton for this weekend's first game, which will be on Saturday morning, and it will have a Dayton area flavor to it. Kettering Archbishop Alter returns to the Final Four. The Knights are making their second trip to the state tournament in 3 years under head coach Eric Coulter. They lost in the regional final last year and were state semifinalists in 2022. The 21-7 Knights are led by junior R.J. Greer, a 6'4", 4-star prospect that is the 4th-rated player in Ohio's 2025 class. He holds 9 offers, including ones from Michigan, Florida, and North Carolina State. Alter does a lot of damage from distance. They have made 222 three-point shots this season, and in their 2 regional wins, knocked down 23 three-point shots. Alter also brings a great deal of size to the floor, starting 3 players who range in height from 6'7" to 6'8". The Knights will face 24-3 Youngstown Ursuline in the semis. Head coach Keith Gunther's club averages 69 points a game and allows 49. Ursuline is the first Mahoning Valley boys team to make the state Final Four since LeBray did it in 2013, and this is the school's second ever appearance in the state tournament, the first since winning the 1994 Division III state title. The Irish are led by Jalen Gunther, a 5'11" freshman who scored a team-high 16 points against Canfield, and 6'7" senior Jalen Payne, who averages 16 points per game. The Irish have dominated postseason opponents, winning their 6 tournament games by an average of 36 points a game. They won their 2 regional games, which included an 85-44 dismantling of Cleveland Villa Angela St. Joseph by 66 points. Saturday's second Division II semifinal will feature Shelby from north central Ohio and Zanesville-Maysville from the eastern part of the state of Ohio. The Whippets of Shelby went on a 22-6 game-ending run to rally from a 40-33 deficit with 6:21 to play in their first regional final since 1957 to knock out last year's Division II runner-up, Lutheran West, 55-46 at Bowling Green. The state tournament appearance and regional title are the program's first. 8 seniors lead the way for Shelby, and the go-to guy is Alex Bruscotter. The 6'8" guard is a Wright State commit and a Mr. Basketball finalist this season. Bruscotter, who averages just under 24 points per game, scored 53 points and hit 12 threes in an 84-61 win over Ashland back in January. The 3-time All-Ohioan is second in career scoring at Shelby, behind the legendary former Ohio State Buckeye great Larry Siegfried. The Whippets have won 19 in a row and haven't lost since a 61-57 setback at Lexington on December 30th. They also lost 67-63 at Division III state semifinalist Ottawa Glandorf in December. Shelby averages 71 points per game, most among Division II semifinalists, and allows just 51, and they own a 25-2 mark. 25-3 Zanesville-Maysville arrives at Dayton after 2 heart-pounding regional wins. The Panthers scored 55 second-half points to roar back from a 15-point halftime deficit and beat Vincent Warren 72-64 in last weekend's regional final at the Convocation Center in Athens. The Panthers clawed their way back courtesy of 8 made second-half threes. Maysville is led by 6'1" senior guard Alex Big Shot Bob, who averages 26 points per game. Bob knocked down a 3 at the buzzer in the regional semi to beat Columbus Bishop Hartley 50-49 in another game where the Panthers trailed by double digits as they were down 14 in the first half. Maysville averages 69 points and allows 47 points per game. This is the school's first trip to the state tournament since 1971. And we wrap things up with David Wilson, who will call Division I.
Well, a very talented field will compete for the Division I state championship this weekend. Let's take a look first at the 24-3 St. Ignatius Wildcats from Cleveland. Of course, best known for their success on the football field, but the basketball program is now flourishing under head coach Cam Joyce. It's the third trip to the state tournament in the last 4 years for the Wildcats, who knocked off Brunswick 46-43 in their regional final. The Wildcats will meet the 27-1 Delaware Hayes Pacers in the first semifinal on Saturday at 5:15. The Pacers enter the Final Four red hot, a 21-game winning streak, the latest of which was a resounding 74-56 victory over Olentangy Orange in their regional final. The Centerville Elks are back in Dayton for a 4th straight year, and it wasn't without a fight in the regional final against Moeller. It took 2 overtimes, but Centerville edged the Crusaders 70-69. The Elks entered the state tournament at 19-8, and of course they won it all back in 2021. The Elks will take the court in the 8:30 session on Saturday against the Toledo Whitmer Panthers. Carrying a very impressive 25-2 record, Whitmer stunned Garfield Heights 49-47 in the regional final on a last-second tip-in by junior forward Napoleon Jemison. That bucket punched Whitmer's ticket back to the state Final Four for the first time since 2012. That's a look at the D1 contenders. This is David Wilson reporting for the OHSAA Tip-Off Show.
We would like to thank all of those broadcasters for their work on those reports. Now we'll allow our local stations to share a few messages from their local sponsors. And when we come back, we'll recap last week's OHSAA Girls Basketball State Championships. This is the OHSAA Tournament Tip-Off Show.
Here, 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 even here. Never here. Phones down. It's the law. Fines start at $150. Here, 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 even here. Never here. Phones down. It's the law. Fines start at $150.
Welcome back to this edition of the OHSAA Tournament Tip-Off Show. I'm Marty Bannister. The 49th annual OHSAA Girls Basketball State Tournament wrapped up last Saturday night at Dayton. Let's see how those 4 championship games went down. In Division 4, Fort Loramie made its 12th trip to the state tournament and won its 4th state title with a 42-29 win over Waterford.
They're converting them.
14 turnovers.
14 turnovers.
And Fort Loramie's running again. Nice lead for the layup by Alvarez.
This floor obviously injured.
And remember, in 3 of their last 4 games, Waterford has trailed by decent margins at the half and rallied to win. Fort Loramie pushes. Brandwee with a tough catch in traffic and goes inside and scores.
Again, that's that turnover in 2 points. And
their final win over Berlin Highland, they trailed by 11 at the break. And right now they're down by 9 as we start this second half. Good lead feed, running to the basket and scoring is Summer Hoy. And Jerry Close will have to call a Waterford timeout.
And on cue again, a steal.
And the easy pilfer and the points for Fort Loramie as they continue to utilize their defense and back run the Wildcats.
And she's figuring it out. Wagner's figuring it out on the offensive side. And again, coming down the lane late for the block.
Surrey slices and dices to the basket and scores. Counted and a foul. Kendall Surrey on the slash and dash, and she'll go to the line. State. But we're unable to play for a state championship. They came back and won the next year.
Waterford dribbles out the clock. And Fort Loramie celebrates their 4th state championship. And they did it with their typical dominating defense. Final score in this Division 4 state championship game. Fort Loramie 42, Hereford 29.
In Division III, Columbus Afrocentric won its record-setting 9th state title and second in a row with a 58-47 win over Ottawa Glandorf.
Carson Hereford returns to the lineup. She took an extra breather after that timeout. First dead ball, she's back in there, and Carly Brinkman.
The buckets are not falling, and Ottawa Glandorf is exhausted.
Down the lane, it goes! And one, Natalia Nelson. One-on-one down here, and right to the glass. Samira Thompson. The Afrocentric Nubians are going to go back-to-back in Division III, and they own the most state championships in the state of Ohio. Today they win their 9th as they defeat Ottawa Glandorf.
It's our pleasure on behalf of the Board of Directors and Ohio High School Athletic Association and all our member schools to present to you the 2024 State Champion Division III Trophy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Afrocentric.
In Division II, Cincinnati Purcell Marion won its 3rd state title in a row with a 79-52 win over Shaker Heights Laurel.
Throws to Miller. Looks back door, didn't take it. 8 to go. Gets a screen. And he gets another screen. And now a dribble drive and score for Kiera Miller. Mosley for the triple, and it's off the mark, no good. A rebound, Wilkins. Wilkins back up, and she can't get it to go. Another chance, and this.
It's a little thing, but it's a big thing in basketball.
Edwards taking it down into the trees, and here is Hall with the turnaround, and it is good. Inbounds goes to Mosley, down to Hall. Hall will take it up and score it.
Try.
Here is Alexander hanging and scoring, and Hall wants no part of Alexander right now. Battle around again, Myers gets it. They try to get it to Hall and do. And another 3, and this one here for all four of them. And there she is with the 3.
Right on target.
A 3rd consecutive state championship for Purcell Marion. Back-to-back in D2.
And to wrap things up in the Division I championship game in front of a crowd in excess of 5,000 fans, Olmsted Falls won its first state championship with a 52-45 victory over Springboro.
Cameron spots up again, hits it again!
Starting to warm up, Dave.
Baseline, they kick it out. Bryn Martin hits the 3.
Good time. If we get in trouble, call one of those timeouts to get yourself out of it.
Open look, Cameron 3, she hits it! Good job of moving the feet, which coach said he wanted to see defensively. Try to get it into Wade. Or actually Trent. Up, under, and around. And Martin runs it down. Step back 3. Puts it in! All championship.
Thanks to Spectrum for its coverage of the Girls State Tournament. Now let's take one final break for these messages from the Ohio High School Athletic Association. And when we come back, we'll wrap up this final edition of the OHSAA Tournament Tip-Off Show. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Doug Ute, Executive Director of the Ohio High School Athletic Association. For more than 115 years, the OHSAA has promoted school sports as an important part of the student's educational experience. Interscholastic athletics teach participants lifelong lessons of hard work, teamwork, and self-discipline, along with sportsmanship, integrity, getting along with others, and overcoming adversity. One thing the pandemic has taught us is that being on a team with our friends is more important than ever before. So as you continue your journey in athletics, remember the importance of also working hard in the classroom. Always give your best, never give up, and have fun while you're doing it. As an Ohio native and former athlete who learned these same lessons myself, I encourage our young people to focus on your academics so that you can continue the privilege of participating on your team. After all, the lessons that school sports teach us today will prepare you for the wins and losses in life tomorrow. Education is the key to life's successes.
It has been another outstanding basketball tournament season, and we would like to thank all of our broadcasters and guests who contributed to our weekly shows. We hope to see you in Dayton this weekend for the Boys State Basketball Tournament. On behalf of the Ohio High School Athletic Association, I'm Marty Bannister. Production and technical assistance provided all year long by Adam Dell and Yamo Media. The OHSAA Tournament Tip-Off Show is a production of the OHSAA Radio Network.